Alicia, I was thinking maybe we should redecorate the Wonka well. Like, we've been in the studio apartment for a little bit, and I just thought maybe we could use a refresh. I know we still have a couple like framed posters, and like we don't really have coasters or anything. And I think it's time maybe we like, I don't know, give it a refresh. You know,
I'm
like
down.
it's been a while. So I was thinking, should we redecorate it to look more like a certain capitalist infrastructure that creates edible products that consumers enjoy?
Okay, and that's
perhaps,
Wonka? Is that Wonka, or are we not saying his name for legal reasons?
For legal reasons, we actually can no longer say the W.
I genuinely get scared that that'll happen to us at some point. Sometimes I'm like, what would happen? What would we do?
Welcome to Watch.
Yeah. Welcome to
Billy Bonka is one of our most intriguing characters. Billy Bonka and
It'll just turn into eccentric chocolatier watch. Like, have it be like the fucking Party City names.
Eccentric chocolatier watch.
Yeah, I actually have some suggestions for the Wonka Well home decor, and I'm glad you brought this up. I have this really like interesting adversarial / like collaborative relationship with the Wayfair ads I get.
Oh, yes.
Wayfair
has the wildest ads. They
and
throw out the wildest shit.
For some reason has said you have fucked up taste, and like
for some reason
they send me. Well, yeah, but everything they send me is right, but I'm also like pissed off.
Yeah. Okay.
So one I got recently was a purple pillow with a beaded alligator with high heels and a bow on.
What the shit?
This is $80.
Why is that both awful and the best thing ever?
No, I'm obsessed with her. I mean, she's an icon. I want to add her back.
It's amazing. And
one ad I got for a long time. I also got, one of those industrial, in the same ad, it recommended to me those industrial water fountains that you can like put the bottle in and it fills up from the top.
Oh,
the classic LK. One of those. It said, why don't you purchase that for your home? Right. Another one I got for a while was this Big Bird chair from eBay. Where you just sit on his lap and he kind of lovingly caresses you. It is for toddlers, but I do want it very badly.
That's something.
They go for a running price of about $30.
God, seeing that with the lights out, you're like walking into your room, you're like, oh my God, but it's just Big Bird staring vacantly at you going, sit in my lap.
I have a lot of these, I'm now realizing. Just home decor I screenshot and then don't purchase. I took this one of a clock that's got a bunch of birds on it at the thrift store a few days ago.
That's cute.
So that's going in.
Oh, I like that.
I think that's great potential for the Wonka Well home decor. We got on like 8 different tangents during that, but
it's fun.
Yeah, I think we need a place to freshen it up. But look, I got a new bookshelf over here, and I got a shipment of books for my Wonka Scholar tomes.
Perfect.
And this one's like a nice little coffee table book, so I'm going to put it on our coffee table. Which is made of little tiles with plastic goldfish in them.
Cute.
I would actually love that.
That would be adorable.
Man, that would like a resin table with plastic. Okay,
that would actually be really sick.
I'm so.
We'll take
I love
this offline.
Kitsch home decor. Yeah, we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about Felicia and Elaine talk. Yeah,
proof that our friendship is real.
It's real.
We do talk outside of Wonka. I'm sorry, Billy
I love
Bonka.
that literally no one accuses us of this.
I know.
No one, you're like, we're just very like, we do actually like each other. And everyone's like, we didn't think you did.
Like,
the more you deny it, it makes it seem worse. Like,
they're like, wait, no, but like, what are you hiding now?
Why would we do this with someone we didn't like hanging out with? Like, it is truly an exercise in misery on its own. Like, there has to be some benefit. There's no reason why. Anyway. On my new bookshelf and coffee table book I brought here, I have the book Inside Charlie's Chocolate Factory by Lucy Mangan.
Ooh.
Hopefully that's how you pronounce her name. We're going to go with it. That I read about a month ago and then forgot about.
These are always some of my favorites when you've written notes months ago and then you don't remember them. And we both get to just go through your experience again for the first time.
It looks like it was about a month ago. Wow, what a long month.
That was a different year.
Yes. Ooh. So yeah, I have not reviewed them since, so we're going to talk about it. But this was a book. It was in the young adult section, technically, of my local library. But it was like a full color book that had like all these pictures. It had like costume designs for like the opera, like the original sketching. A ton of the info I got about the opera was direct from this book. She did a bunch of interviews with people. It was great. Really, really enjoyed it. like if I as a rule don't want Wonka merch in my life, but if I got this book, I would not be mad. I'd be like, this one was good, like a good resource.
Yeah.
I didn't hate my experience of reading it because it was just a really well done. And for comparison,
what a compliment.
My nonfiction books have been, I know, my nonfiction books thus far have been like philosophy textbooks with no images and like the scrunched up text. So reading this with color coding, image references, I felt like a whole new woman. It was crazy.
That is exciting.
But yeah, before we get into that, welcome to Wonka Watch. This is a podcast where we talk about all things Wonka and the world of Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and all this other shit in preparation for the 2023 prequel. Oof. You'd think I'd have this spiel by now down, but no. I'm Felicia.
And I'm Elaine.
Awesome. So it's time for Wonka Watch. I got it in the mail when I got the book.
That's so cool. I love that subscription. I didn't know if you were going to renew it or not.
Oh, wait, shit. I forgot to renew it.
Oh, no, Felicia.
Or there's just no new Wonka Watch. But we're going to say I forgot to renew it. But thankfully, with that book, I got another book called Willy Wonka Mad Libs. What?
I said, what a fucking deal this purchase was.
I know. And I definitely didn't buy this over a year ago.
Nah.
I bought this so early in the podcast. I got into Mad Libs like episode 8.
Yeah. You're
so we're gonna do a little Wonka Mad Lib. We haven't done this in a while, and it is always my last resort if I cannot find a new piece of Wonka news. Literally still, I know I talked about it like 2 weeks ago. I am still getting emails about that fucking dog named Willy Wonka who got new ears crocheted for him. That's awesome. That's so cute. But can you stop telling me? I know. I get 3 emails and I open the emails and it's all 3 articles are about this fucking dog. And I'm like, that's awesome. Not relevant to my life at all. Please. And they're like, did you know Timothée Chalamet is an actor? I'm like, yes. Stop. Anyway.
I get it.
Every week I keep saying now it's going to get better. No. I've been thinking this for months. There's been fucking nothing. Elaine, I'm going to need you to give me a part of the body.
I'm going to give you my belly button. Does that count? Is that a part or just a terrain?
Now I'm going to need a noun.
Burger.
And another part of the body.
Elbow.
I'm going to need a silly word.
Goopy.
Okay, now give me a verb.
Run.
Now a verb ending in ing.
Singing.
An adjective.
Shiny.
All right, give me a noun.
Chair.
Okay. Another noun.
Museum.
Okay. All right, now give me a silly word again.
Oh my god. Razzle.
Give me another noun.
Tile.
This makes no sense. Adjective.
Dirty.
Okay. Another part of the body.
Neck.
And then an animal.
Snow leopard.
Okay. So let's go for this. I went for Wonka's Wonderful Chocolates.
Oh, here we go.
The following are a few popular Wonka chocolates to tickle your imagination and delight your belly button. Oh. Wonka's Whipple Scrumptious Fudge Mallow Delight is made of 100% pure burger chocolate that melts in your elbow. Oh. Wonka's Gloopy Caramels change color every 10 seconds when you run. Wonka's Singing Gum never loses its shiny flavor. Ew. Wonka's chair balloons can blow up to enormous sizes before you pop them with a museum and gobble them up.
Wait, read that one again.
Wonka's chair balloons can grow up to enormous sizes before you pop them with a museum and gobble them up. Wonka's Razzle eggs look like a tile's eggs. You started really good with Razzle, and then it went fucking into the gutter.
Tile.
Look like a tile's eggs with dirty spots on them, and when you put one in your neck, it gets smaller and smaller until all that's left is a tiny pink sugary baby snow leopard sitting on the tip of your tongue.
Okay, no, that's fucking cute.
Yeah.
It going into your neck, though, and then something's on your tongue is a little sus. I mean,
it is fucked, yeah. Didn't we learn so much?
We learned a lot. Tile, most boring word to use in a Mad Lib. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't recommend.
Don't
it
fucking
is
say tile.
Chair tile's egg. Chair balloons you pop with a museum is wild. It's very Animal Crossing. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, no, but I see.
Yeah.
But I see.
I think it's just words that are in Animal Crossing.
You know what? Yeah.
There are balloons and museums in Animal Crossing, aren't there? All right. Shall we start opening the book? I've cracked open the spine.
The little dirty speckled egg, you cracked it open, and the snow leopard is holding a book.
Wow, that's awesome. I have a tiny copy of the book I already ordered and put on my coffee table.
It's so many copies. It's too tiny to read.
8 of these fucking books.
You really fucked up your order.
So let's start reading it. So this is the full title. Inside Charlie's Chocolate Factory, the complete story of Willy Wonka, the Golden Ticket, and Roald Dahl's famous creation by Lucy Mangan in 2014. So this book was written for the 50th anniversary of the original novel. The author was a huge fan as a kid, and it's for anyone who wants to know a bit more about how it came to be and how it managed to permeate readers' worlds and the world at large. So that's what I'm saying. It's talking about how Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has become embedded in cultural consciousness, which is what we talk about on here a lot. Which makes it sound a lot more serious than what we do is. Anyway, the book has a ton of pictures and was a really nice reading experience. And it had a bunch of the international covers you and I reviewed, which is a great segue. We're going to be putting up our Buy Me a Coffee in February. And it's going to be on there. So we'll talk about that more at the end of the episode, but fun surprise. So the book had a foreword by Sophie Dahl. So a different one of the Dahl brood that we don't... Roald Dahl's name is pronounced Rual.
Sorry, Rudahl. Like
Rudahl. I got
some wild. Sorry.
Okay, so Roald Dahl's name, in case you haven't heard, is pronounced Rual. We don't do that because Roald is fun. I'm sorry.
It took me a really long time to get there too. Like that was a big step for me to even like know he existed.
To get Roald, yeah. So, I mean, Elaine started this podcast and didn't know who the man was. So
yeah. So we're
but because Sophie could not pronounce Rual, she called him Mold as a fun little like nickname.
Oh,
which is cute. Here's another one. A fucking train reference. Roald Dahl had a mini steam train that went around the dining room table, and I do love that. I will give him that.
That's some good shit that we are going to bring into the Wonka Well studio apartment.
We do need a little steam train. I prefer one that runs around the walls, like kind of on a loop.
Same, like on the upper like ramp thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like in a Wegmans. Wegmans has one that descends from the ceiling. Anyway, there was nothing more magical than the red Tupperware box. So the red Tupperware box was the box that Roald Dahl kept a bunch of chocolates in. And if people were good, they got chocolate from the bin. I don't know. Roald had an encyclopedic knowledge of chocolate. The dog that he had that ate chocolate was a Jack Russell Terrier named Chopper. And then Roald on chocolate said, for the record, I'm not overly fond of chocolate flavored foods such as chocolate cake or chocolate ice cream. I prefer my chocolate straight, which I got that vibe from Wonka anyway. We're reading something we will be discussing later soon in an upcoming weeks, a 2001 script for the 2005 movie. And Wonka was drinking hot chocolate in that, and it felt inherently wrong.
So...
But I'm very excited. We are so fucking hyped to talk about this.
So excited.
Thank you to our listener who sent that in. We will give you a full shout out in the episode. It is amazing. Okay, so Sugar-Coated Pencils is the first chapter, and it's about writing the book. So the book went through 5 drafts, and Roald Dahl was living in the U.S. when he started writing it, which explains why it's set in the U.S., you know? First draft was the one where the kid falls into the big vat of chocolate, becomes stuck inside an Easter bunny before getting sold to a kid who tries to eat it and then gets surprised. Big news, though, in this version, Wonka was called Mr. Richie. And if Wonka was called Mr. Richie, we would not have this podcast.
No.
It's awful.
Mr. Richie.
Yeah. Anyway, the second draft is closer to what we currently have. Wonka was less eccentric, and he sent out 10 golden tickets instead, and Charlie was on an all-potato diet instead of an all-cabbage diet.
Fuck that. We wouldn't be doing this if it was all potatoes.
Charlie in that version is taken to the... I don't know if we got all these names. Augustus Pottle, Miranda Grope, Wilbur Rice, Tommy Troutbeck, Violet Strabismus, Clarence Crump, Bertie Upside, Trevor Roper, and Elvira Entwistle, which Elvira Entwistle is a serve, but, you know. Anyway, Charlie in this version is taken to the Easter egg room, which has chocolate eggs the size of automobiles and a chocolate animals and people. Charlie goes inside one of the boy molds, and Wonka sends him to his own house for an Easter present for his son. So Wonka has a son in this. And then, once there, Charlie foils a robbery at Wonka's house, and then Wonka, as thanks, gives him a 9-story chocolate shop.
Wonka's house outside of the factory.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Ew. He has a work-life balance.
In this version, there are normal adult workers. Wonka has a wife and son, and Wonka colors are brown and gold.
A wife, a beard. What the fuck? What? This is so weird. Ew, Mr. Richie.
Like, we silently believe in gay Wonka. Like, we're such gay Wonka truthers that, like, we just don't acknowledge. There's no way. Mark Wonka's happily married to Nelda Nerd, but everyone else.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
If Timothée Chalamet has a female love interest, I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah,
movie.
No,
not in real life. I'm not.
No, not the human, just the Timmy Wonka.
Timmy Wonka has the female love interest in Wonka. I don't believe it. I don't know why.
Yeah, no.
He makes more sense as part of the gay community to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be bisexual. We don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
If he does end up with a woman, he's bisexual. That's my end goal.
There we go.
Not me erasing bi people as a bi person. I love that for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, the songs are still there in this version. They're just like disembodied, and the Oompa Loompas were originally named Whipple Scrumpets. So, which makes them sound like they'd be greyhounds. I don't know why.
Oh my God! But think about it though. What if a bunch of greyhounds were running a factory?
It'd be very cute.
I love so cute.
Greyhound.
Aw. Don't race greyhounds. Make them do hard labor instead around a thing that could kill them if they eat it.
So the draft is a lot less intense. Wonka assures the parents the chocolate river isn't hot enough to burn you and that Augustus Poddle would be fine after the bath. And then it found these mini illustrations Roald did of each of the characters. We have Augustus Gloop. Then Mary Miranda Piker. I don't know who this is.
These are just squiggles.
Yeah, it's Veruca Salt, Violet Beauregard, and the Mike TV. So that's...
Wow.
I love the Mike TV one down here. It's very...
Oh, it's just a little stick figure with his big guns.
Just an assortment of lines and stick figures. I don't know what purpose these illustrations serve, I'll be honest, because they do not really tell me anything. Anyway, so that was fun. I was supposed to insert the stories into this Notion document, and then I never did. The photos in the Notion, and I never did. So we're just going to go off my phone.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's all of that. So now we're on to the story behind the story. Roald's agent, Sheila St. Lawrence, suggested that some changes end up in the story. She said, I'd like to see the assistants either chocolate mechanical boys or animals or something more surprising than they are. Might it be amusing to have Augustus stick in the pipe for a fleeting moment, like a blob of ice cream in a straw, then a pop forward as he is dislodged. And she did thankfully make him get rid of the Easter element because then it was seasonal and harder to sell, which thank God, if this was an Easter piece, imagine if Wonka was like the classic Easter film. That would be so weird.
No.
The only people who are allowed to make Easter movies are VeggieTales. No one else is allowed to.
Truth.
And that's a legal mandate the U.S. government passed in 2002. The book was published in the U.S. first, but it actually took them a really long time to find a UK publisher for Roald Dahl's work, and it was the same issue they had with James and the Giant Peach. And then originally, this is a little bit about some more problematic Oompa Loompa backstory. Wonka had come to the Oompa Loompas' aid after they were thrown off their native land by a plantation owner, but that got cut. According to this, after being approached after the NAACP with the 1971 film producer David Wolper, and Roald Dahl immediately agreed to change the Oompa Loompas depiction to what we know now. The NAACP executive director at the time, John A. Marcel, said of his and education directors Junie Shaglov's critiques, nowhere in either of our reactions to Charlie is there any reproach to Mr. Dahl's work, who we both admire. We're also aware that the book itself has proven enormously popular with children and deservedly so. Which is interesting. It's nice to hear like what their perspective was at the time, you know what I mean, with it and all that stuff. And I'm glad they at least made some changes to it and things like that. But I just thought it was interesting backstory to hear from like the people who were critiquing it themselves.
Yeah.
So that's all the info about the book. I hope there is nothing more to learn about it. I don't want to hear another fucking fact about the backstory of this novel.
Agree.
So Television and Chocolate. This was published. This is basically the chapter all about the adaptations of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And this was written and published while the musical was on the West End, so we don't have any Broadway Wonka discussions, but we do have a lot of other stuff. So for the 1971 movie, we knew most of the 1971 movie stuff from the Mel Stewart book I read like way back in the beginning. But I did want to mention Squeezed Him Like a Roll of Putty did feature, and I was excited to see it again. Apparently Paris Themin, who played Mike TV, was really fucking annoying on set, and Gene Wilder said 4 of them are wonderful, and one of them I'm going to throw out a window tomorrow. So I'm happy. Great job, Paris Themin.
That's so fucking good.
Roll told the casting agent of Wonka to find a boring little bugger for Charlie, so at least he knew.
Well, they did it.
Joel Grey was the most considered alternate for Wonka. He was the original MC in Cabaret, but they decided not to because he's 5'5" and they wanted him to be taller than the kids. And if one of the kids had a growth spurt, that would be messed up. Which I can see, and that makes sense.
Okay.
Fred Astaire wanted the part, but never approached the director or the producer because he knew he was too old. So he was never really in consideration, but he wanted it really bad. David Walper said of Gene Wilder, the role fit him tighter than Jacques Cousteau's wetsuit.
What a phrase!
I will say, the people in the 1971 movie all had these banger quotes. I mean, rolled him like a little putty, the Gene Wonka costume critique, which is still one of my favorite texts
Every line
on the planet.
Just gorgeous.
I'm not a mincy man who dances around with ballet steps.
The ballet, that's what always gets me. And now I'll fit him tighter than Jacques Cousteau's wetsuit. Holy fuck.
Roll did actually approve of the final screenplay for the film, but remained deeply upset and demoralized by the whole thing.
Shit.
He had a big beef with them. I don't know, man. And the kids in the movie were just let loose in the chocolate room and just was like, try and eat whatever you want. I don't know, man. And I did get confirmation on something I've been wondering for years. The Hershey bars, the Wonka bars were Hershey chocolate in this movie, which I thought they were.
Wow.
And when I say for years, I mean a single year since we first watched it.
I was curious there on that timeline.
Because I've literally had never seen it before starting this podcast. You know what's
so interesting? I have not given that a single thought at all.
It's just because in the opening credits there was a lot with Hershey's Kisses, and I wondered if they were Hershey, and we talked about this, and I've been wondering.
Yeah, I love it. Closure.
2005. We're talking about the 2005 movie. So Gary Ross was originally picked to do the film. This was who was attached, I think, to the 2001 script that we are currently reviewing. He was the director of Pleasantville, Seabiscuit, and The Hunger Games, and the writer of Big. Would have been wild. That's Eventually, this moved to Tim Burton with John August writing the script. And August was a childhood fan of Dahl and had sent him fan mail and received the stock postcard that Roald Dahl sent to all of his child fans, which had it was basically this stock reply that had the old little Wonka.
Oh,
the creepy Wonka we don't like on the right
creepy little Wonka drawing. Yeah,
it said, "Dear John, thank you so much for your letter. I liked getting it. I'm afraid this is a very short reply. I wish I could send you a long one, but there are such a lot of letters to be answered, and there is a new book to be written, and a million other things to be done. So please forgive me. With love, from Roald Dahl." And he signed it and wrote their name. I actually think it's a really good fan mail. I think that was really sweet. And if you got that as a kid, it would be really nice. So Burton had no question about who would play Wonka. He knew it was Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp agreed immediately, which is what I always thought, which is why that 2005 list of actors who were considered has always been are you sure? So I wonder if some of them were considered for the script that we're currently reading, because would be interesting.
Ooh.
Anyway, Nestle launched their chocolate Wonka bars in tandem with this film, and apparently the chocolate river in this version also smelled like ass. These were some of Tim Burton's illustrations for the movie, some of his concept art.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the cow. Yes, the whipped cream. I am so scared of the children's. I forgot that he does creepies. And that Augustus Gloop, I think, in the upper left corner you're showing me in the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vacant eyes.
It looks like what you think it would look like.
It is Tim Burton's sketchbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was, okay. This is what I really like. Mangan theorizes that the film basically puts in her theory on why the 2005 film hasn't caught on like the 1971 film. And she says it's because it looks like a careful note perfect work. You can't feel too strongly about it. Your imagination has nothing to grab onto, no gaps to plug, no room to maneuver. It is frictionless entertainment. I was like, damn.
Oh, shit.
And she said also, Gene Wonka simply exists, whereas Johnny Wonka must be explained. And I was like, that is one of the best explanations for why the 2005 one isn't as good. Because like the 1971 one looks rough around the edges. Like, you know, like Do you know, like there's
these
almost
are props. These are
are props. You can see like the edges of the set, and I kind of think she's right where like it almost feels less whimsical because this 2005 one is so like airtight in its production that it's not like even fun.
Well, I think you and I have talked about this before, and if not, but like to me there are some things where like you'll watch things now where they like have really cool dance scenes and stuff, but because the camera quality is so good, it almost seems real, not real anymore. Like not as impressive because we have so much technology to make things look better and to add effects and stuff that when you look at older movies or with like less quality of stuff, you're like, oh, that feels more impressive because it's closer to what you would actually be seeing in real life. And so I think that was one of the things like I can agree with there is I think we had talked about it in that episode too, was like, yeah, like you watch the 2005 one and it's like everything is edited, but you watch the first one, you're like,
someone
oh my
who
gosh.
kind of likes the 2005 movie. Like I don't really, but I enjoy certain aspects of it, but I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't have like the unabashed love for the 1971 movie that a lot of people do. Like I feel pretty neutral on it, honestly. But like I kind of just feel that way about every Wonka piece of media, except for Broadway, and I don't know why. Anyway, she also, I wrote here, genuinely a good insight I haven't considered. Roald values the role of family, but being family alone isn't enough. If you're a bad grandma, you get medicine like in George's Marvelous Medicine, but if you're a good grandma, you get heroes effectively laying down their little mouse lives for you, as in The Witches. By the way, that's what The Witches is about, if you've never seen
Oh.
I did really like that one as a kid. Anyway, in this sense, Roald would never have had Wonka forgive his father. He would be disregarded entirely, and Wonka would make a family of his own, like Matilda and Miss Honey and Matilda, which I totally agree with. Like it is totally out of character for that Wonka to be like, also, I forgive you, father, you know? Like he would just not even pay attention to him and not even think about him, which I just hadn't thought about that. I was like, that's interesting. Good note. I appreciated this book because it felt like it was actually doing some critical thinking, which I was like, thank you. So the West End Wonka, Douglas Hodge, our Wonka actor, created a scrapbook full of inspirational figures for his Wonka, which was Michael Jackson, David Bowie, Salvador Dali, Mick Jagger, Prince, Charlie Chaplin, and more. What a cast and crew.
What ingredients for such a recipe.
I'm like, but also when you put all those in a pot, that is not what I would have expected to come out.
No.
He also knew the energy he needed was different to sing huge songs and full of a theater of children, which does explain his choices as Wonka. Like, yeah, because his choices confuse me, but once I know that's what he's aiming for, you know. So the next section is about the Golden Ticket Opera, but I talked about all of this in the Golden Ticket Opera episode, so we're just going to skip over that. So you can check that back out in part 1 of the Golden Ticket Opera 2 episodes ago if you want to hear it. So now we're on to Behind the Gates of the Chocolate Factory, a visual tour, which is all about illustrations and artwork. And like production design. So Roald Dahl originally wanted Maurice Sendak of the Wild Things, of Where the Wild Things Are, to do illustrations, which didn't end up happening. Apparently Joseph Schindelman and Roald Dahl didn't meet until the illustrations were finished, and they ended up talking politics and bonded over their shared liberal left-wing views. So he was a liberal, which is that it, like I knew, like I kind of knew it, like, but interesting to get confirmation.
Yeah.
And Schindelman said, but of course, I wish he had said he liked the drawings, which is funny. Other illustrators like Michael Foreman tapped into the like Victorian inspo that Schindelman used, which was like kind of a running theme. Quentin Blake and Roald Dahl had discussed how lively and nervous a person Wonka was, which I don't know if that's how I would describe him, but I see it, you know?
Yeah. Nervous.
No one captures really the nervous energy of Wonka. Is it bad to say I think we do with our podcast Wonka? Maybe.
It's true. Some truth.
It's true. Our Wonka is deeply insecure.
Our Wonka is so insecure. Our Wonka is chaos.
Quentin on the Oompa Loompas, he redesigned them to have hair standing on end. And his intention was to make them more a part of Wonka's team, not as employees or slaves, but as people as naughty as he was, which they were in the book, which I appreciate that intention.
Yes.
You know. And Roald would change stuff in his books to accommodate more pictures for younger readers. So if there was a part where like he thought that more an illustration would be better. He would like cut out parts of his own writing to make that happen, which I did appreciate that about Roald's books as a kid. And then on illustrating Wonka, Joseph Schindelman said, when you think about it, he's so well described by Roald Dahl that you almost couldn't miss him. I mean, it's like taking a photograph, which this quote was immediately followed by Tim Burton saying, it's sort of abstract and leaves her room for interpretation, which is very funny to me. And then for The Factory, Burton for the film wanted the factory to be a building with a Hoover Dam like optimism and strength, which is not how I would describe the factory in that movie. It looks dreary and dreadful, but that's okay. Apparently people were disappointed with the chocolate room in the West End version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and described the waterfall as a giant curly whirly. So.
Oh. Oops.
And the boat in the 1971 movie was supposed to be a 16th century three-masted sailboat, but that didn't fit on set. Would have been nuts if that was the case, though.
Wow, that would have been... Wow. Speechless.
So now, we are on to Everlasting Gobstoppers, the effect on popular culture, which this chapter really resonated with me. And you will see why. So, the book still sells nearly 500,000 copies a year, which is nuts. Its very language has been adopted by our culture at large. And she was saying Willy Wonka is just kind of become a catch-all for an innovative or eccentric genius, which is true because the author mentioned that she has a Google alert on Willy Wonka. And I was like, bitch, me too. And she keeps seeing a manufacturing guy described as the Wonka of 3D printing.
You need to reach out to her
every day.
You need to reach out to her and be like, hey girl.
Can we have you on the podcast?
Can we just talk? Because I think
you are the only person who might get it.
You might be our neighbor. You might be our neighbor in the Wonka well.
Oh my god, there's a secret door in here. Is this Lucy Mangan's house? What? Oh my god. Apparently at the 2012 London Olympics, Russell Brand appeared at the closing ceremony dressed as Willy Wonka and sang Pure Imagination. A researcher in 2012 found that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was among the most common children's books that adults have read. The 1971 film was aired pretty much annually on Thanksgiving on TV, which is why it's embedded in the minds of a lot of people who grew up in like the 80s and 90s. It was like an event viewing, you know? Not many modern stories have embedded themselves as fully... Not many modern stories have embedded themselves either as wholly or as firmly in the collective consciousness, which I agree with. A great quote that kind of sums it up. There were some SNL sketches she listed that I added to our list to check out later. Apparently, the Family Guy episode Wasted Talent is based entirely on Wonka, and then I wrote, please don't make me watch it.
No.
And then episodes on South Park, 30 Rock, and The Simpsons have all done riffs on Wonka. And apparently the penultimate episode of 30 Rock is about finding the successor for NBC and does the entire Wonka plot. That one I could potentially watch. That's the only one who I... Mostly just because I love Jack McBrayer. And I will watch anything that man is in, except for like all the seasons of 30 Rock, but I will watch a single episode. So if we really run out, maybe. In Epic Movie 2007, there's a Wonka parody. Don't worry. I have it written down. Apparently, there's a UK rock band named the Vermicious Knids, but they broke up in 2006.
No! Wait. I have to look them up after this.
Yeah. Do you want me to go on Spotify and play it real quick?
Please. Give me some Vermicious Knids, because that's a fucking great
We still haven't... I mean, there's also Veruca Salt, the band.
That's so true.
Okay, I don't know if this is the same one. This is the Vermicious Knids. They put out a single album in 2009, and they have 21 monthly listeners.
Make it 22.
This is called Awayo Wayo. Okay. It sounds like 2009.
It does. That was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was better than I thought it would be. Not what I expected to hear, but I'm not mad about it.
Man.
I don't know if that was the same band, but sure, you know.
Yeah, we found a Vermicious
Everybody
Knids.
Check out the Vermicious Knids on Spotify.
Let's see if we can get them up to 30 monthly listens. We are going to single-handedly bring back this band. They'll be our opener when we go on tour.
That would be iconic.
That would be fucking wild.
Apparently Ozzy Osbourne is a huge Wonka fan, and Kelly Osbourne wanted to play Veruca in the 2005 movie, but she was too old. So that's some fun backstory.
God, wow.
Marilyn Manson claims he was considered to play Wonka, but the author could find no evidence behind that statement. Get him.
Eviscerated.
This is one that's very fascinating. So Australian comedian Matthew Hardy did a 2-person show with Julie Dawn Cole, who played Veruca Salt in the 1971 movie, playing themselves in therapy and kind of just talking about the Wonka stuff. It's called Willy Wonka Explained: The Veruca Salt Sessions. I am looking into it. Do not fear.
Thank God.
Because I'm fascinated. Top Chef had a Just Desserts Wonka episode. There was also a light discussion of all the Gene Wilder memes that were really big for a while from the movie with the one face. Apparently Jacques Torres's Brooklyn Chocolate Factory is very Wonka-esque, and apparently Heston Blumenthal, who is probably the only person in real life who we can actually call Wonka-esque. He's like a celebrity chef that makes just like fucked up shit. Let me do you know anything about Heston Blumenthal?
No, I don't.
He made liquid nitrogen scrambled ice cream made from reindeer milk.
That's everything.
Yeah, no, and he apparently did a whole Wonka themed menu. Let's see, what are his 7 weirdest dishes according to the Mirror UK? He made ice cream curry. He made a fish eyeball cocktail, super fish and chips, great big pork scratching. He served them an edible billiards table as well.
Oh my God.
Meat fruit. A plum made from bull's testicles. So he's the only person who I actually consider to be Wonka-esque.
What an inspiration.
Meat fruit.
Meat fruit. Plum made from bull testicle.
Yeah, and apparently he did a whole Wonka-themed menu, which I do want to explore at some point.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Then we have Whipple Scrumptious Fudge Mellow Delight, all about chocolate. Apparently one of the Nestle's promotional things for Wonka was a sticker that just said Wonka Power, which I do love. There's a Wonka Exploder bar, which was milk chocolate with popping candies, which is wild.
My God.
And then there was Wonkalit, a purple chocolate bar with Snozzberry nerds in it. And the UK went fucking nuts with Oompas because they had mashed potatoes, caterpillar, and Snozzberry flavored Oompas.
Damn.
Nestle also has the license to make Wonka ice cream, but I don't think it's ever happened. There's a place called Sweet Boutique in LA, which made a bunch of candies from the books, which was called the Wonka Inventing Room line. And then there was a lot of mentions of Rold's Cadbury testing days, and apparently he remembered saying that one of the bars was too subtle for the common palate.
Oh.
And he was like 12 at the time, so just remember that. Rold had botanical drawings of cocoa beans in his house, and cocoa was majorly used as a drink in the 1800s, and the major companies in the UK were Quaker-run and interested in using chocolate to steer people away from alcohol.
Oh,
interesting.
Okay.
And then a little fun cross-cultural fact: a U.S. Milky Way is what a UK Milky Way is what a U.S. Three Musketeers is, and a U.S. Milky Way is what a UK's Mars bar is. Never knew that. Good to know.
That's what I knew about the Milky Way Mars bar thing, but I didn't know that they also had their own Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
What a wild time.
Rold said the dates about chocolates are milestones in history and should be seared into every child's memory in the country. So, you know. And we're on to the last chapter now. It's been pretty speedy and a good read. And my favorite chapter of the book called Square Sweets That Look Round, What the Critics and Fans Would Say. So Roald Dahl aim as an author is to get kids to enjoy reading by teaching the use of words and the joy of playing with language. It helps children learn not to be frightened of books, and if my books can help children become readers, then I feel I've accomplished something important. And basically a lot of the chapter the author spends talking about defending the book against the critique of it being too violent or too vulgar for kids, which she argued well, and I don't really disagree with. Like I was fine reading this as a kid. We like to joke about how it's too scary, but like it's not really that scary for kids.
Yeah,
it's just but it is funny to talk about how fucked up it is though at the same time.
Yeah,
but then insanely it has a summary of Marxist and Freudian critiques of the book. Which when I opened this book and flipped to the back, and that is the final thing of the book.
Wow.
The Marxism one is about the Oompa Loompas, and it ends with "Don't tell them about the elves in Santa's workshop," which, like, that's not an argument. That's not an argument. I agreed with the Marxism one, so I didn't have like stuff to pull out. The Freudian scholars, though, had a fucking field day. So let's talk about this. According to them, the chocolate factory is symbolic of the human digestive tract, expelling the children it does not need at the end, like waste matter. I love that whenever I go into a building and leave a building, I am being expelled from the building like poop.
We are all just pieces of feces floating through this universe.
When I get out of bed, I'm actually being expelled from the poop bowels of my bed. What are you talking about?
When I get in my car and I'm on the highway,
that's just how you go places.
Life isn't a highway. Life is a colon. And I'm going to ride it all night long until I leave.
Sigmund Freud, as said by Sigmund Freud, 1840. What the fuck was Sigmund Freud alive? I don't fucking know. Not the 1800s.
Whoa.
No, he was born in 1856 and died in 1939. So, okay. Wasn't that wrong? It symbolizes the unconscious mind through which the ticket holders must pass before maturity is achieved. Each of the children who get booted are at a different stage, with Charlie being the furthest. The chocolate represents the flow of a mother's milk.
No, it does not. No. It's not a chocolate milk river. It's a chocolate river. There's a difference.
You can't see liquid and say, I don't know, it looks like cum to me. That's the essentiality of what you're doing.
Jeez.
I just don't. Apparently my TV represents the phallic stage because guns are phallic.
Freudians need to look in the mirror and just have a moment, you know? Like
this
maybe
is
someone...
the worst one. Alternatively, each of the children had bad experiences during potty training, causing them to obsess over the nearest symbolic representation for the feces they were losing. Huh? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, genuinely, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't even know how to process that.
What is a bad experience during potty training, number one?
Yeah, first off, what? Yeah, wait, what? You accidentally shat in, someone's mouth and they died instantly? I don't know how that,
And how are all five of them having a
how did they all five? And,
all
what
obsessing
context?
over chocolate? And that's not what they're even doing in the movie.
Felicia, this suggests that they would go, walk into a cafe, look at someone and go, traumatic potty training experience. I can see it in that barista's eyes. You're able to judge a person by being like, you know what? You fucking sucked at learning how to get in the toilet.
Don't you? You really like bagels, don't you, Felicia? Well, you must have had a traumatic potty training incident because a bagel looks a lot like a butthole. And because you're so obsessed with them, I think you've obsessed over the symbolic representation of your butthole.
Yeah. But you love tiny eclairs because they look like... No, I'm not going to ruin eclairs for everybody. Oh, no. The Freudians win again.
That's fine. I don't care.
They look like little poop things, and so
also,
it's like you're
Wonka's suffering from castration anxiety. So just... I will be honest, separate from Freudianism, I do love the idea of Wonka has an irrational fear of castration. He's just scared someone's going to take it from him. And, not in an emasculating way, just it's an irrational fear of me when I go to pee and I'm scared I'll get electrocuted by the lightning outside while I'm peeing. It's that kind of thing where he knows it won't happen.
Can we make an executive decision on this podcast that Willy Wonka calls his dick Wilbur Wonka?
I feel like
otherwise it would be...
But I like Willy's Wonka full name being Wilbur. I like that, though.
Well, who's to say it couldn't still be...
Well, no.
Wilbur Wonka Jr.?
He has to either call it Wanga, though.
Wanga.
Or Wanka. I mean, there's options.
There are options. We'll figure. We'll mold this over.
We'll discuss.
Everybody
look forward to the episode. What does Willy Wonka call his dick? That's an episode on the docket.
Episode 69.
Oh my goodness. What would Wonka call his dick?
We're no longer gonna beat around the bush. We're gonna name Willy Wonka's wanker.
Would Willy Wonka be a good lover? And we just all ended the whole episode. The author says, so now you know. I'd like to blame this all on the 60s, but alas, it's still going on. So she wasn't happy about it. She wasn't happy about having to read about it. And that's all I have. That's the book.
I mean, gosh, that covered everything. That covered so many different
book. It would have been nice to read it, I think, earlier in the podcast. I would have gotten a lot more out of it back then, but I did still really enjoy it. I learned some new stuff. I don't feel like it was completely redundant. I enjoyed my reading experience. It was a nice book.
Yeah.
Nice full cover. You can get it really fucking cheap online. So if anybody wants it, not a book in high demand.
What was the author's name again?
Lucy Mangan.
Lucy, you don't know it, but we're coworkers.
Yeah.
You don't know it, but we should all be in group therapy together.
You get it, Lucy.
We understand. You might not have had anyone in your life say this to you, but for once, like, we understand where you're coming from, and we understand your experience, and we have been there, and we appreciate what you have done. She had to read all those Freudian things, probably for like months. Just people. Lucy, what'd you do today? I had to read about someone talking about like children having traumatic potty training experiences and how it relates to this children's book that doesn't mention that at all. Like, that was just weeks of her life.
I've almost read a few Freudian Wonka ones. It was almost an episode topic at one point, and now I don't feel like we have to do it.
We don't, and please don't do that to yourself. We have to have some limits.
Thank you for freeing me.
Oh my gosh, please. We at boundaries, everybody. It's really important to set boundaries.
How do we sum this up? It's a book, and we read it.
Boom.
Predictions?
I'm going to predict that there will be a lollipop. It won't happen. Oh, I was like, a fickle grubber lollipop. Like, it's green and it's the fickle grubber.
Yeah, no, it won't.
So it won't. So that's cute. I'll just shit on that dream. I'll predict that fickle gruber will become a Tumblr sexy man.
I predicted that episode like 8
it's
of
just
this
like
podcast.
Cooler when I said it though.
Okay, sorry, I'm pulling up the prescription spreadsheet.
Episode 8, not episode 8. We didn't know he was going to be in the movie at that point.
I said whoever Matthew Bainton plays will be a Tumblr sexy man.
Wow.
Wait, no, maybe I didn't. I think I thought maybe it was...
I don't think you said it as a prediction.
No, my prediction was he was going to get shipped by Timmy. With Timmy. Does that... Like, there was going to be a vocal
something like
minority
that, yeah.
who... Okay, but that overlaps because it's both Tumblr.
So I don't get to have it anymore?
No, you can have it.
I feel like both of mine have been not good.
No, you can have it. I'm all good with that. Matt Lucas.
Where are you, Matt Lucas? Where are you? We need you.
All right, I can make my prediction. I think, based on the evidence we have, that photo was Matthew Bainton as Fickle Grubber, right? That photo.
Can you remind everyone of what that photo is?
Yes. So last week on our Wonka Watch section, we looked at some IMDb photos and we zoomed in really far to the left and we saw the corner of a coat and the outline of a face that looks really similar to Matthew Bainton. And we presuming that is Fickle Grubber. He's wearing a green coat. And I keep forgetting that is not like a character trait. Like that is like a pure coincidence he's wearing a green coat, but we're like, and they're accurate to his froggy roots. Like, I genuinely forget he's not a frog in canon all the fucking time. And that this is a character that was mentioned goddamn once. Like, that is it. One single time. But he's in that shot and he's standing next to Keegan-Michael Key, as we can see from the coat. Now, Keegan-Michael Key is always pictured with Matt Lucas. My new assumption is Matt Lucas will therefore be Slugworth. It would make sense.
Yes.
Fickle Grubber, Slugworth, and then this weird security guard that they hang out with, right? Like that.
Perfect. Oh, I like this.
That makes sense, right?
Ooh, yeah. I see it.
And then there's the other Olivia Colman, Tom Davis set of villains, which is apparently a whole nother group.
Villains.
I know, they're fucking
so many
crazy.
Fucking
maybe I wonder if Fickle Grubber and Slugworth are going to get a redemption arc, or maybe Olivia Colman and the Tom Davis are going to get a redemption arc. Because there's always got to be one slight villain who gets a redemption.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Olivia Colman can't, like, in my mind, be the villain if she doesn't have a singing number. To me, the villain has to have a singing number. Wouldn't you think? Like,
didn't she have one song?
No, I think she was like, thank God I don't have to sing. She was super relieved.
That's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think she's
a singer. Like, he can sing. So.
Yeah. Oh, that man is going to have a song, and it's going to have strong tuba presence.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I'm very pleased and excited for the release. No, I agree with you, the Fickle Grubber Tumblr sexy man thing. Now that I know he's playing Fickle Grubber, I 100% agree, because that means he's going to be in a suit, and they have to be wearing a suit to be a Tumblr sexy man. So boom. I'm sorry I poo-pooed, because I thought I had predicted it. I had predicted him and Timmy would get shipped on Tumblr. Granted, very similar, because if they are both Tumblr sexy men, it's going to happen whether or not they interacted with each other in the film at all. There's going to be at least 5 pieces of fan art. Anyway, I guess that's it. I guess that's all. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. If you liked it, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wonka Watch. And if you have any absurd thoughts, opinions, things you want to share with us, you can email us at wonkarapture@gmail.com. I don't know. That felt really intense. I'm very tired. You can also support us on buymeacoffee.com/WonkaWatch. And I guess this is a good time to say we are fully intending on launching our kind of like monthly thing in February. And we will talk more about that when it happens. But we're going to be releasing bonus content, some bonus commentary tracks for all the Wonka movies. And it'll be a really good time. We're excited about it. And you'll get an official Wonka Scholar certificate.
It looks so good. Oh!
You get a little Fickle Grubber on there.
It's so cute.
Also, we have a new little announcement. We talked about this last episode in an insert I put in, but we have our new cover art by Riley Branson of the royal couple of Wonka Watch fame of Carolyn and Riley. And they are on Instagram at rad_Riley with 2 L's. And you can check out all their awesome work there. I think that's about it for us today. All right.
UFO.
What? Oh, I thought you said UFO, and I was really confused.
UFOs. We're going to take this offline after.
You're like, I've actually been auditioning for Ancient Aliens and got a spot on the History Network.
I can't wait to talk about how Willy Wonka is actually was brought as stories from the aliens so that we can learn more about their life and what they think of human morals.
Anyway, but it wouldn't be fucking important if it happened, would it?
It wouldn't be important.
No, because it's not that important.
It's not that important.
Ugh.
Bye.
Get out of here. Bye.